Hello, good evening, Natalia. How are you? Let me know if everything is okay and if you can hear me correctly, please.
Yes, hello. I can hear you well.
All right, great. Let's begin, please, with today's class. We're going to continue working on the elements that we got. We are going to start also, we're going to try applying these elements little by little, right? Well, the writing exercises that we got. Let me see, the last thing that we checked, it was this correction. Yes, so we're good. I don't know if you have any questions, again, as always, about anything that you've been working so far. Remember that this is the 7th class, the 7th course for actually this unit and this course, and we're going to finish on Monday, right? Our 8th and last class is Monday, and Tuesday next week is the last day to complete everything. So let me know, please, if you have any questions about anything before starting today's class, Natalia.
No, only I have to practice with the template. I didn't do it yet, but I will do on this weekend for show you at Monday.
Great, exactly. That's great, right? Exactly, because that's what we said, right? Trying to work with introduction at least. So when you got that introduction, remember, it can be one or even two. I know because you need time to think of the topic and so on, but if you have it ready for Monday, we can take a look at that. Because Monday is going to be mainly to close with the last lesson, I believe. Today we're going to cover two because we have simple lessons, but Monday is going to be just for one lesson and for reviewing or mainly for reinforcing anything that you are doubting about or anything that you want to reinforce. All right, it's going to be a general class. Good. So it means that we can go then to the two topics. Today we're going to work with models of possibility and perfect models. All right, let's go with models of possibility first. This is going to be basic. I believe this is going to be just a review. The main topic is going to be perfect models today. But let's review models of possibility. Okay, I'm going to open it. All right. So there you go. Let's review. Again, in order not to use a lot of time with something that we covered and that is not going to be complex, let's go straight to the point. May, might, and could, right? These are the three, sorry, the three main models that we use for possibility, right? We covered this, I think, once or even twice. But what do you remember? This is basic. How do you use may, might, and could, Natalie? What's the logic that you follow to use these models of possibility?
I think it's when you talk about with for more formal expressions, you have to use could. Need and might is like is less formal.
Can be related to that, not always in terms of formality, but yes, could is more formal in comparison to may and might. That's correct. But there's one more reason that is the main reason why you're going to use may or might or could. If I talk about percentage, again, and remember, this is just, right, approximative, because we don't have a real percentage, all right? But which one do you use when you are 50-50 in terms of something, right? You want to do something, but you have another option and you say, I don't know, right? I could go here or I could go there. Okay, so you are like 50% sure or unsure what you want to do. So which one you use in this case? May, might, or could, sorry.
I don't know.
And in this one, perhaps this is going to help you. If you are unsure between 25 and 30%, you can use two, and they are going to be kind of the same. So those are going to be may and might. it means that if you are 50-50 and you have options, good. Okay, that's going to be the main thing that is going to make you decide which one you want to use, Natalia. If you are again 50% sure of something because you have two options to choose from, you say could. All right, I could go to the party or I could stay home. Right, I believe that I'm going to stay home. Okay, but you are 50-50, you're going to still decide. You don't know yet. But may and might is when you are very uncertain about something. Okay, that's why they say 25 to 30%, and they are going to be the same. If you don't know if this possibility is with a very low percentage, may or might. Okay, so in the case of your real life, Natalia, what is something that is very unlikely? It means that it's not that possible, only 25 to 30% possible in your life for tomorrow. What do you say? What example, what a real example can you give me with may and might about a possibility that is very low for tomorrow in your life, Natalia?
Wake up early.
Okay, and how can you form that with may or might?
I may wake up early tomorrow.
Okay, yes, right. You can say tomorrow, yes, I may wake up early. Right, but if you say I may wake up early, it's like you say, okay, possible, right? But it's very low, so you don't really feel that you're going to do it. Also, it's not sometimes because you know that you don't want to do it, but also because you don't have a lot of information to say that that's going to be true, right? For example, if someone told you, hey, Natalia, I believe that we're going to travel this weekend, I'm not sure, right? So you are less sure even. That's not going to be could, right? Because that's going to be a possibility, a real possibility, could. But if the person is telling you, I believe we're going to travel, I don't know. So you're not going to say, I could travel this weekend. You're going to say, I may travel this weekend, but actually I'm not sure because the person is not sure either. So I don't know, right? So again, if you're very unsure, may or might. If you have options that are give you this 50-50, or even it can be right 30-30-30, but very concrete options, could is going to be a good alternative. All right, if you have that clear, then the lesson is clear. But let's take a look at everything. Remember the main rule, Natalia. Anytime you use a model, you always use the base verb, right? You never use to, right? I may travel tomorrow, I might travel tomorrow, I could travel tomorrow, right? But we never say to travel and we never say travel, right? Always the base verb. That's just a reminder. But let's read the function of these three models, please, Natalia. Let's read this element, please.
We use these models to describe a possible action. Because of the uncertainty, these models are often used to talk about the future. So sometimes we want to express possibility in the present.
Okay, there you go, right? So of course, a possibility is going to be expressed in the future, but we can also talk about the present as you're going to see in the second example over here. We're going to read everything, all right? But we're going to pay special attention to this one. Let's read these examples, please, Natalia.
I may go traveling next year. Future possibility. My kids might be in the car. Present possibility. They might attend the award ceremony tomorrow night. He could call you back tonight. We could choose a new color of paint for the bedroom. I might join you if I finish early. The results of the study may shed some light on this condition.
All right, thank you very much. So most of these cases, Natalia, are for future possibility, of course. But as you can see in number 2, well, the second example, my kids might be in the car now, it's a present possibility. Okay, you can be right outside, you have classes, you don't know if the professor is in the course, in the classroom yet, And you say, right, I don't know, he was not there, right? But actually, he might be there right now. I don't know. But again, you don't know. So you are guessing. That's a possibility for you. All right. But it can be a present possibility, something that can be true at this moment. Okay. At this specific moment. But again, once again, 90% of the cases is going to be used for future possibility. All right. These are general examples. Now we have to know important details before working on the practice. Natalia, a very short practice. This. First is that in negative, in affirmative, you can use may, might, and could with the logic that I told you. But remember, we already covered this. In negative, we never use could because could in negative is not possibility. It is impossibility. Okay, something that you are not going to do because it's not possible for you. Okay, because again, it's not the same if you say, I may not go to the party. Okay, it's like I may not go, but I don't know, right? I may go, I may not go. I don't know. But if you say I couldn't go to the party, that's not possibility for something negative. No, that's impossibility. For you, it is impossible to go to the party. Okay, that's why again, in terms of possibility, we only use may and might for negative sentences. Okay, we don't use could. Let's have that in mind. One extra thing, and this is the last one before practicing. Of course, no, this is not the thing. This is part of this. Of course, in negative, we don't contract, right? May and might. There is no may and mightn't, right? It may not, might not. We don't contract may and might in negative. But this is the second thing that I told you. Now, this is the opposite. Remember, in negative, we only use may and might. We don't use could. And in questions, we only use could and we don't use may and might. Why? Because may in questions is not possibility, is permission, right? May I come in? May I go to the bathroom? May I help you with this? Okay, it's permission. And might is not used in questions, at least not with this purpose. It's not going to have a different meaning. It's not used in questions. All right, that's the short explanation. We don't use might in questions, and may in questions means something else. It doesn't mean possibility. That's why to ask for possibilities could, right? Could you finish everything for this weekend? Right? Is that possible for you? So to ask for possibilities again, could, okay? Not may or might. And this is something extra. We're not going to see that. But I don't know if you have any questions about this part so that we can go and practice a little bit in our document or file. Let me know, please.
If you come back to the last slide, yes, I couldn't go to the party. No, that's incorrect. The sentences in this case doesn't exist. It
No,
doesn't exist.
the sentence is correct. It exists, but it's not possibility. It is impossibility. Okay? If you want to talk about possibility in affirmative way, in affirmative and negative, it is only may and might. Okay, in affirmative, of course, you can also use could. But again, what's incorrect here in Natalia is that couldn't is not used for a negative possibility. All right, because again, the comparison between I may not go to the party, that's a negative idea, but showing possibility, right? I may not go, but I may go. Okay, so you have the feeling that you don't know. But that in negative is not impossibility. That's a possibility. So I couldn't go to the party. It is correct, but it is not possibility. It's not negative possibility. It's impossibility. You are saying directly something concrete, direct, and you're saying that for you it's 100% impossible to go to the party. All right, that's why
This is
again
the
we don't
meaning.
use it. Exactly. I couldn't go to the party is that to me it's impossible to go, sorry. I have a very, very important meeting It's very important for my job and I am not going to miss that meeting. So sorry, right? I'm 100% sure that I'm not going to go to the party. Okay, that's why again, here we don't use that because it's 100% sure that you won't, sorry, do that action.
It's like you say, it's almost impossible to go to the party.
Yes, and even I would say that stronger, even is stronger than that. It's almost impossible, could be, but when you say couldn't, it feels like 100% impossible. All right, I couldn't do it. Sorry, right? If when someone asks you, right, for example, I don't know. Okay, it's going to be an example. Someone that you met right before asks you to, I don't know, what could it be? Something incorrect, okay? Something politically incorrect, something socially incorrect. You are at store and this person tells you, okay, hey, grab that. Okay, so he wants you to steal something, to rob something. And you say, sorry, right? I couldn't do that. So if you say, I couldn't do that, it's impossible for you. You know that you are never going to steal something. Okay, that's why it's more than almost impossible. It's like impossible, totally impossible. All right. So again, then grammatically speaking is correct. The sentence is correct, but it is not possible. That's the only thing. And here, remember, just to review, here is the opposite. Here you can use could in questions because for questions, could is possibility. But may in questions is not possibility, it's permission. And might is not used for questions. Okay, so that's important to take into account, to keep in mind, because now we're going to practice the three forms, affirmative, negative, and questions, and we have to be sure what we can use and what we cannot use. Okay, so what do you say? Any other questions or details that you want to mention? All right, so let's go please to our document. Natalia, we are going to write 6 examples, 2 affirmative ideas, 2 negative ideas, and 2 questions. All right, try to use different, remember, if you have the possibility, use different alternatives. One sentence can be with may, one with might. In negative, remember that you cannot use one element, right? And in question, remember that you can only use one element. Okay, so taking that into account, let's write it, please. 6 ideas, 2 affirmative, 2 negative, 2 questions, and we check when you're done, please, Natalia.
Okay.
All right, there you go. So again, let's see. Well, okay, so it's going to be 29 more or less 30. We're going to have at least until 34, going to 35. But if you finish before, please let me know.
Okay.
Okay, let's be finishing, please. In 1 more minute or less, we're going to check.
Yes, I finished.
Okay, good. Let's then take a look at that. I'm here. Let's read those examples.
Only the two examples. The, the
No,
first.
I mean, let's read all the examples. Affirmative, negative, and questions.
Okay. I might take care of your children this weekend. There could be more survivors of the accident. My dog couldn't eat more today. It ate a lot last night. The weather couldn't be better on my vacation. I enjoyed the sunny beach. Could you borrow me your pencil? Could you finish your exam on time?
All right, great. Again, just one detail, right? Remember, in negative, the two are correct, but those are not examples for possibility, right? Those are examples for impossibility. And now it's good. They are going to stay there. But now just speaking, okay, before giving the corrections. In speaking, Natalia, what two negative examples can you give me for possibility, not for impossibility?
In negative?
In negative.
Um, I'm not sure about the difference between if it's negative is possibility in all the cases.
Yeah, the difference, remember, couldn't is not used for negative examples for possibility, because couldn't means impossibility, right? And these are good examples, but they are impossibility. If I ask you for negative examples for possibility, you only use may or might with not. And the difference between may not, might not, and couldn't, again, is that couldn't is 100% impossible. But may not and might not is a possibility for a negative action. For example, if you say, tomorrow, I may not go to the class. I don't know, I'm tired, I'm sick, so I may not go. Okay, so it's a negative possibility, right? It's not impossibility. You're not saying, I couldn't go to the class because I have something very important, right? No, you're not saying that. You're saying, I may not go because I hate that class and I don't feel like going. So I'm going to let you know. Okay, I'm going to call you tomorrow if I go. If I don't go, well, I don't care, right? So of a negative possibility. So what do you say? What two ideas can you give me for a negative possibility with may not and might not?
I might work on this weekend.
To make it negative, right? Because I believe it was affirmative. How do you change it?
I might not work on this weekend.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. You don't know, you're not sure, your boss told you, right? Natalia, I believe we're going to work this weekend, but I'm going to let you know, okay? I'm going to verify. So you say, right, to your friends, hey, I may not work this weekend, so I'm going to tell you, if my boss tells me that I'm not going to work, we're going to go out. Okay, so in that case, again, it's correct, right? So you don't know, but you say, I may work or I may not. But of course, you give a negative idea if usually it's affirmative, but in this case, possibly it's going to be negative, right? That's going to be your decision. That's one. One more, please. Something that you are not sure, but you believe that is not going to happen because of a certain thing.
I might know cleaning my bedroom on this weekend.
Okay, good. And clean, right? Not cleaning, clean, right? Good.
Okay.
I might not clean my bedroom this weekend. Exactly, right? And you have the same logic. because you don't know, because you believe that you're going to be lazy and you don't want to do anything this weekend, right? You want to rest and you say, I might not do it, right? So yes, it is correct. I don't know if with that you see the difference between couldn't and may not and might not, Natalia.
Yes.
Yes, right? It's very clear. Couldn't is very, very strong. I couldn't do it. 100% sure, impossible. But I might not, I don't know. Okay, you are very sure. Okay, good. Now, only one correction here. And this question is for this correction. What's the difference between borrow and lend? Because they are very similar verbs. What do you say?
Lend is when you receive an object, and borrow if you give an object to lend or to another person.
Close, but I believe if you speak like that in first person, I believe it is going to be the opposite, right? Lend, if for example, if you understand as the person having the object, okay, so the person has the object. If you ask this question, could you borrow? Borrow means that that person is going to take something from you. It's not going to give you something. It's going to take something from you. That's why in this type of questions, you don't say, could you borrow me? You say, could you lend me your pencil? Okay, because the person is going to give you the pencil. So could you let me? Or could I borrow your pencil? If I say borrow, is to ask for something temporarily, right? And then I'm going to give it back to you. Okay, so the questions are going to be, could I borrow your pencil, or could you lend me your pencil? Okay, I'm going to write those two possibilities. Could I borrow, know me, right? Directly, could I borrow your pencil? It means I'm just going to use it for a moment, then I'm going to give it back to you. And the other one, could you lend me
Could I
pencil?
borrow your pencil is if the object is yours, but I ask for you give me your object.
Yes, no, the object is not yours, right? The object is that object is a possession of the other person. Is of your friend, right? So your friend has a pencil. And when you say, could I borrow, when you borrow something, you take something temporarily and then you take it back. All right? It's like the difference. This is going to be the main difference. All right, this. And this. Okay, that's going to be the main thing. That's why you say that you borrow something, because you take something, but when you lend something, you give something. But again, in questions, you usually ask, could you lend me your pencil? Or could I borrow your pencil? Because you're taking something from someone that is not yours, right? And then you have to take it back.
Okay.
All right, good. That's it. Because everything else seems to be working great, Natalia. I have no more observations. I don't know if you have any questions about this, because we have one more lesson to cover briefly. But I don't know. Do you have any questions about this one?
No.
All
In
right.
the second example, there could be more survivors of the accident. I was writing could be more survivors, but the document correctly.
Yes, no, and it's good. Yeah, and it's good that you tell me that. Okay, sometimes if you have corrections, it's better if you leave it there, because I'm going to explain why. Okay, because I didn't know that you wrote that. I was not taking a look at that. If you use a model, the model is always going to be before the main verb. There's not possibly going to be a verb or anything before the model. Okay, never,
Only for
never.
that.
Not the verb to be, not other verbs, never. if you're going to use the model in your sentence, you are never going to have anything else in between the subject and the model. Okay, so if you want to use the verb to be, it has to be after the model. And if it's the verb to be after the model, the rule says that after the model, we always use the base form, right? So what's the base form of the verb to be? Is be, right? That's why, okay? That's why. Because if you say that, imagine that you are saying something like this. I'm going to write an incorrect sentence, okay? You're going to say she. Okay, that of course it's incorrect, right? Why? Because we're saying this. All right, something like that. But if you realize, we don't need the verb to be, we don't need anything else before the model could. All right, so it's going to be directly, right? This one, and of course the meaning is right, the one that we know. All right, that again. Okay, that's why again, if you put the verb to be before, it's going to be off. If you want to use the verb to be, it's always going to be after the model in the base verb. Okay, she could be my girlfriend. He could be the professor of the class, right? There could be a lot of things to do. All right, but always like that. All right, it's a major rule and it's always going to apply. So good. Let's go then to the next one. And it's this one, perfect models. All right, so we also covered this one time, Natalia, but only once. So perhaps we don't remember or it's not clear. Perfect models are also called, Natalia, past models. Okay, it's a way to use models in the past, always in the past. Okay, perfect models are only for the past. Okay, not for present, not for future, only for past. And it's the models that we know, but they are conjugated in a different way. All right, they are conjugated in a different way. Before working with that, actually, I want to go directly to this. Must. We usually use must, Natalia, for obligation, right? I must finish, right, this to pass the course. I must have my ID to take the test, right? So an obligation. But must, as a perfect model, Natalia, would have, must have, and the verb in the past participle, as you can see over here. In this conjugation, Natalia, this is not going to be an obligation. This is going to be to give a conclusion, to draw a conclusion about something in the past if you are sure that that's what happened. Okay, not 100%, but you are 98, 99% sure. Okay, so almost sure that something happened in that way in the past, right? So if in the past, in this example, all right, I ran a lot, you know that I ran a lot, your conclusion, what's your conclusion going to be? This one. You must have been tired. Okay, and I'm writing the idea over here. Okay, that's a translation. And that's why it is used to give conclusions. All right, if something in the past happened and you have a conclusion for that, and you are 98, 99, so I mean, you are very sure that that happened, use must have. Okay, use must have. If you know the person you're talking about, if you know the situation, if you passed or you've experienced that before, okay, anytime that you feel sure, use must have plus the verb in the past participle to give a conclusion.
Mhm.
For example, imagine in the past, and you give me one conclusion. What conclusion can you give me for this, Natalia? Imagine that on Wednesday, okay, and again, it doesn't have to be real, but on Wednesday, I didn't attend our class. Okay, I didn't join the class.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't tell you anything. I didn't send a message. So what is a conclusion? Again, it doesn't have to be real, but what conclusion can you give me for that thing in the past? If I didn't attend in the past on Wednesday, what can be your conclusion for that past situation?
And you must be, you must be busy.
Okay, Now, just one detail. If you're going to use have in the contraction, it has to be very clear. If not, you read it without the contraction, okay? So it's going to be, you must have been busy,
Mm.
or you can say, you must have, okay? Must have. You must have been busy, okay? But great, that's a possible conclusion. So yes, you must have been busy. That's why you didn't join our class last Wednesday. Okay, good. Now imagine again that we had a meeting, let's say, Natalia, all right, and you're going to tell me something else. Oh no, no, not a meeting. We had to go out. Okay, we had to go to a party, but again, I didn't show up. Okay, I didn't show up. So what can your conclusion be?
Mm. Show up.
Show up, it means that I didn't go.
Ah, okay. You must be,
And remember the pronunciation, you
you
must have
must,
been.
you must have been, you must have been forget, forgetful, forget.
Okay, and actually there, you don't have to use the verb to be, right? So instead of the verb to be, use the verb forget in the past participle, like here, right? It must have happened.
Forgotten.
Exactly. So
Mm.
you must have forgotten our activity, for example. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so been is only if you want to use something with the verb to be. For example, an adjective, right? If you want to use an adjective, of course you use the verb to be. If you want to mention a
Mhm.
place, you use the verb to be, right? But if you want to say something else, don't use the verb to be. You have to use any verb in the past participle, right? So your example is
Mhm.
good. You must have forgotten our activity, for example. But again, you only say that if you feel very sure that that's the reason, that that's what happened. Okay, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you have any questions. Again, this is the main idea, but let me know, please, Natalia, if you have questions about this.
Mm, no.
All right. So I know this is important to work. So I'm going to directly first ask you to write examples with this. Okay. Let's go to the
Mhm.
document. Only two examples, but give me a good context, Natalia. Right? What is a context? A context is another sentence that makes me understand why you are giving that conclusion.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So not only one sentence like this, give me something that makes me understand your sentence.
Uh-huh.
All
Okay.
right, let's do it, please. Two ideas. So we have 3 minutes more or less, a little bit more. We check in 3 minutes, please.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I'm going there and we're going to check those two ideas. Good. Let's read, please, Natalia.
And you must have been sleepy. You drove all night to arrive here. The patient must have been painful. He was crying for many hours.
Right? It is good. Just the adjective is not going to be good, okay? But everything seems great, okay? Because of, right, if that person drove all night to arrive there, you believe that the person must have been sleepy, right? Or tired also, right? Good. Now, painful is something that produces pain, okay? It's what produces pain. It's not what you feel. Something is painful, okay? Something is painful. For example, a situation can be painful, okay? A situation can be painful. But it's not to describe when someone feels pain, okay? So actually, you can say to be in pain, or the patient must have been, yes, one alternative is in pain, all right? That is feeling that, okay? It is feeling that. Because if not, you describe directly what's the pain that the person feels and you describe it directly. But if you want a general description, in pain is going to be the best option. Okay, so remember, painful to describe what produces the pain. In pain to describe that you are feeling that pain. All right, then the patient must have been in pain. Good. Remember, not commas to the divide to complete ideas, right? Remember, we have semicolon or period. All right, so these two ideas. So the patient must have been in pain. He was crying for many hours. Great. And because of this action, this is your conclusion for that past activity. Okay, good. Perfect. I don't know if you have questions about that idea because everything else seems to be good.
No.
All right, good. Now, one more thing then, okay, to finish today, one more element, and it's going to be may or might. Now, it's the same as we said before, Natalia. When do we use may and might? When you have possibilities, when you are not sure, right? Here the same, but instead to use, right? Instead of using this for present or future, you use this for past. Okay, that's the difference. So remember, you use must have or must have, okay, must have, if you feel very sure about that. Okay, not 100%, but you feel very sure, very certain. Now, if you don't know, if you are very unsure, if you are very uncertain, if you are guessing, you don't use must have, you use may have or might have. The same. All right, so you didn't come, right? You may have had problems, right? I don't know. So I say you may have had problems because I don't know you, right? I don't know what really happened. Okay, if you were, for example, my best friend, right, I can use must have because I can give a good conclusion, right? Because I know you. And I know that if you don't come, you were with your boyfriend, you were with your girlfriend, or you were doing, I don't know, something related to your major, to your work. So I know you, so I can give a good conclusion. But if I don't know the person, I can only guess, right? That's why I say you may have had problems, but I don't know. I'm very unsure. Or she was sad. She may have broken up with her boyfriend. But also, I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know that girl. Perhaps she is sad because she lost someone, because she failed a test, right? I don't know. But this is my guess, right? This is my try, my attempt. Okay, I'm guessing. I'm playing with the possibilities. So I say she may have broken up with her boyfriend. And once again, we only use may and might for past conclusions. Okay, this is also for conclusions. Past conclusions when we don't really know what happened, but we're guessing. All right. So I don't know if you have questions so that we can go to the practice to finish with this. Let me know, please, Natalia.
In this case, it's different because in the other exercise, might and may as used as a possibility, but in this case, the conjugation is different, and I think the meaning is different of the same word, right?
Yes, and actually you can say that the meaning is the same, but may and might, only may and might without this conjugation, it's for present and future, right? I may go to the party tomorrow, okay? This is going to be the difference. Look, um, right? And the meaning of that one is, right? That's clear. It's always present or future. But if you use may have plus the verb in the past participle, it's for past possibility, for a past alternative, right? So you can say this. I'm going to read, okay? The example is, I called you and you didn't answer. So my conclusion is that you may have gone to the party. So this conclusion is not for present, is not for future. This is a past conclusion for a past possibility. So is this, right? Sorry. Sorry, it took long because it was a long example, but that's a difference. The first one is may or might in a normal situation, okay? Though that's only a model. When may and might are just normal or standard models, right? For present and future. But if you use these are perfect models. Perfect models always use the auxiliary have. You may have, you might have, and the verb in the past participle. So you only use that, and again, the meaning is the same, it's possibility. But this is past possibility in a certain way. All right, that's the main difference, Natalia, okay? And you only use may have and might have to give conclusions about the past, not about the present, not about the future. Okay, that's going to be the difference between the two of them. I don't know if you have any other questions.
And you need first an affirmation, and then you have to explain with using mine or me and the verb in past participle.
Yes, to practice here, yes. But again, if you in a real situation, if the context is clear, you don't need to say anything else before, right? You directly your conclusion. But in order to justify why you're using this, it is a good idea to give a context to understand why you are giving that conclusion.
Okay.
All right. So let's practice. To finish today, please, only two examples, Natalia. With may and with might, we check that and we finish with that.
Okay.
All right. All right, so we're going to be finishing to check. Remember that it's the same as the previous one. It's only that with must have, you are very sure for what happened. With may and might, you are not sure. Okay, but both of them are used to tell a conclusion or something that happened in the past. Okay, and actually, if you realize, you can use the same examples that you have with must, but you can use may. Here you can say, you may have been sleepy. You drove all night to arrive here if you don't feel sure about your conclusion, because you know this person does this action every time and he's never sleepy. So you can use may. Here, the patient may have been in pain, right? He was crying for many hours, but you say, actually, that patient cries every time because she or he has a problem, right? And he's always crying. It's not always because of pain. So it's a possibility. So you can use may and might over there. Okay, so it depends on the context and it depends on how you see that. All right, but let's read what you got, please, Natalia, to finish with that.
We are passing by the same way twice. We may have lost. He looks disappointed after the meeting. He might haven't received a positive answer.
Okay, all right, good. Only one detail in the first one. If you say we may have lost, you're telling me this, right? That's what you're telling me. Okay, but I want to say, I know that you want to say this, not that directly. You want to say, we may have gotten lost. Okay, that's now passive voice. Okay, that's when you get lost, right? You don't say you lose, you say you get lost. Okay, so that's why the past participle of get lost is gotten lost. Okay, we may have gotten lost. It means that you don't know where you are. Okay, but of course in the past. This is for the past. Okay, good. That one. And in the next one, again, he looks disappointed after the meeting. But if you say this, remember, this is mainly for past interpretation. So it's going to be, he looked disappointed after the meeting. He might haven't, okay, he might have not, okay, he might have not, it's going to be better here. He might not have received, no, it's going to be different. Okay, with negative, we didn't cover negative yet, but as I'm going to show you briefly, if you have a negative element, it is over here. It is before have. Actually, we didn't mention that, but the not is going to be before have. Okay, that's the only detail. It's good that you mentioned that. I didn't mention that. I should have, but instead of haven't, it's going to be might not have. Okay, he might not have received a positive answer. Now it's perfect. It's just the position of the not. Anytime you have perfect models, it is going to be after the model and before the auxiliary have. That's it. I don't know if you have any last question or detail about this, Natalia, because with this we are finishing. I'm sending the poll and let me know, please, if you have any questions in the meantime.
No.
All right, there you go. We are missing just two models to work with this. We finish with those two models and we only have one more lesson. We finish that lesson also on Monday. And remember, if you have any other questions or things to practice, Monday is also going to be the day to ask for it. All right?
Okay, great.
There you go. Great. So I hope you have a good night, a good weekend, and I'll see you then on Monday, Natalia.
Okay, thank you. See you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Good night.